Hello everyone, we're back in Alberta showcasing our outdoor footage from Elk Island National Park, which highlights our last winter's hikes and the numerous wildlife encounters we experienced along the way. Our first hike was in early November, but we had some trouble figuring out which direction to go first, so while we're trying to figure that out, I'll show you all the places we went to over this past winter. We began at the Wood Bison Trail located on the south side of the Yellowhead Highway. Then on Christmas Day, we watched a herd of bison at a spot just west of Bison Loop Road. Our next hike was on Moss Lake Trail, followed by another long hike at Twiak Lake Trail. Then returning to Bison Loop Road to see some frost-covered bison grazing in the morning. We concluded our winter hikes by exploring the Lakeview Trail along Stoughton Lake, marking the sixth area of the park we explored. The Wood Bison Trail is a 15.6 kilometer loop that I would estimate taking 6 hours in the winter, especially when the trail is rated as difficult, so make sure you're up to this challenge and well prepared. The trail had been closed for some time, so we were eager to get back on a favorite hike.
We have a sign that the trail has not been used for at least a year. This nest is found right by the walking path, which is right over there.
The Wood Bison Trail is unique as it's the only trail within the park where you can see wood bison, which are the larger and rarer subspecies of plains bison. The trail takes you through some aspen forests and grasslands, and from previous hikes we found there is a good chance of spotting wood bison and occasionally moose. We arrived in early November, and even though there was little snow, it made up for it by the beautiful morning frost. And the early morning light through the trees and grasses only added to the experience. At a little less than halfway along the trail, we spotted a large herd of wood bison. Realizing they had not seen us, we kept far back while we filmed, watching them as they grazed on winter grasses. The sound of Donna's camera suddenly alerted them to our presence, and they turned their gaze upon us. We could also see her tail raising, which is an important communication and should be taken as a warning sign as they could be perceiving a threat. Keeping some distance back, we observed their behavior, and even though they started to walk away, we decided to go back the way we came and not continue on. We knew the trail had been closed for a while and just reopened, giving us concern that the wildlife here may be less used to humans right now. However, by going back, we found ourselves discovering some more interesting wildlife, which included a moose and her year-old calf. They were fairly close to the trail, so we proceeded cautiously. And when moving along the trail, we stopped for a moment so not to stress them, and to ensure they were keeping a good distance as well. You will notice she glances back down the trail to check for others, and seeing no one, she turns her attention back to us. Her ears are also well forward so she can hear everything we're doing, but happily she was just watching us as we walked along the trail. As you can see, moose blend into the forest very well during the winter months, so it can be hard to see them. On these types of hikes, we're always scanning the forest to prevent unexpected wildlife encounters. In this case, when the time was right, they hurried deeper into the forest. A month later, in early December, we came back with the intention of completing the entire trail. And because of the unseasonably warm winter, we also had no snow to worry about on this long trek. As luck would have it, we may have come upon the same moose and her calf in roughly the same area. She was further away this time, and we had dense forest between us, so we were confident in continuing our hike. But that did not stop her from keeping a close eye on us, as we did as well. And as before, we again went our separate ways. We had a similar frosty morning as in November, but we found this hike in December odd. At this time of year, there should be a good amount of snow on the ground. However, with a long hike like this, we were glad for this second chance to complete the trail snow-free. Coming back to the same spot, the wood bison were now gone. Evidence of their presence could still be found, however, by inspecting a nearby tree. The wood bison have spent many hours rubbing against this tree, resulting in the bark having a smooth and almost plastic-like texture. And after, we continued along a beautiful frost-covered trail. Later, we found a beaver den, well prepared for the winter, and with no snow covering the lake, we could hear the sound of surface ice cracking. On Christmas Day, we parked at a spot just west of Bison Loop Road and were greeted by a herd of plains bison. I guess you could say they were Christmas bison. We also witnessed an awe-inspiring scene with bison coming out of the forest in the early morning cold. I would say it was a great way to spend Christmas. So Moss Lake Trail, we are going to do the short loop, 4.8 kilometers, duration it'll probably be about 2 hours for us. Moderate, but yeah, just want something fairly short today. We got a really nice day here today. Sunday afternoon, or Sunday morning, I guess I should say. And no cloud. High of 2 today, so we are interested in a walk today. Even the crows are interested. So we've got cleats on. Donna's going to demonstrate the cleats. If you've seen that, you're better than I am. Hold it up, please. Cleats. Give you a better look. These guys are more robust. If I can stand up. So yeah, this is actually not bad. It's just snowy. But we put them on, as there probably will be icy sections. And it just really helps the knees and ankles better if you got good traction. So this is the trailhead. Hopefully we see something interesting along here. I did not mention it, but we were out on a crisp February 11th morning, and the weather could not be better. Moss Lake Trail takes you through a mixed wood forest, and as mentioned, the trail offers 2 trail lengths, catering to both beginner and intermediate hikers. However, we later discovered that the longer portion of the trail was closed, with reason being to minimize disturbance to sensitive species. So we came over the hill here, and we got a sign. And I think this is just going into the main loop here, the bigger section. Our trail is still good, as I see to the right here, but the main trail has been closed off.
Something.
Pursuant to sections of this, that, and the next thing of the Parks Act, they just say closed. No access right now. Apparently another 2.9 kilometers. About halfway-ish. I thought maybe I'd talk about a little bit about how we prepare for these winter walks. This is actually a pretty good day. I think it's supposed to be +2, but we come out here anywhere from -16 or warmer. I think -16 is probably the limit. But basically what it comes down to is layers. I've got mitts here, I've got a toque, but I've also got a really good coat here, plus another smaller jacket underneath, and then a sweater underneath that. So I'm working with layers. And if I get hot, I can take a layer off so I don't sweat. But after that, I've got good winter boots on, and I've got cleats. And if you look at the snow here, it's not icy, but it's fluffy, and your feet are moving. Even with the cleats, my feet are moving a lot. And you'd be surprised how much you tire out if you're constantly trying to get traction on snow. So the more grip that you can get, the better. And even if I would say even hiking poles would be a good idea, just to keep that momentum going, because you're going to wear out your knees and ankles as well with that kind of fighting, trying to trudge through this snow. And then after that, what I bring is I always bring a Leatherman. Just, a multi-tool that will handle everything. And I'm not sure if I'm swinging the right side here, but I also bring bear spray. So I'm prepared for anything. But yeah, that's kind of a general rundown of the kind of stuff we've got. Plus we also bring water, food, that kind of thing, just to be safe. Although a simple overview, the harsh winter conditions and regular wildlife encounters we do have made me want to show the basic gear I carry. So the end of the trail, parking lot to the left. Our next hike would take us to an area of the park that had a great deal of wildlife. Just to give you a bit of an update, we're on the Tawayak Lake Trail. Not sure how long we're going to be walking on this. It's 18th of February at this point, and it's -20. So it's supposed to be a high of 0. But yeah, we'll see how far we get. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning here. No wind whatsoever, so that's good. But right now it is very far from a high of 0, so we'll see how it goes. Tawayak Lake Trail is a 15.1 kilometer loop, and during winter will probably take 6 hours to complete, as the trail is rated as difficult. Not far from the parking lot, we came across our first plains bison, the first of many wildlife encounters for this day.
So if you notice, there's some urine there with blood mixed into it. And that is from a coyote, because they actually don't want dogs on this trail, so most likely a coyote. The coyotes, they will go into heat at this time of year, so and to express that, they do urinate a little bit of blood along with the urine, and they'll urinate along the trails in order to attract males to mate.
The trees were covered in frost and falling off like diamond snow, but unfortunately the camera was not able to pick it up well. Walking into an open area, we found another herd grazing, and being far enough away, we confidently continued our hike. This is the open area where usually you see bison in the summer. Not sure this year, or this winter. Been seeing them along the trail though pretty good. But as you can see, the trail is starting to get pretty rough, I suppose. There's not too many people that come up this far. And you come out into this fantastic open area. And there are some bison here. Way out there in the open area. A little closer shot. You can start to see them, make them out. I'll grab the Nikon here and give you guys a closer look. So yeah, we're just walking up to these trees here. We wanted to walk that far. Donna was filming there. We kind of discussed that another 9-10 kilometers would be a bit too far. As you can see, the trail is, well, there's only one other set of prints here since it snowed, so the trail is really dying off here. The same thing we noticed in the summer too. People would come back to that area there where that blaze is way over there. They'd come, take a look around, and then turn around and go back, which is about 5 kilometers. But yeah, we're gonna just go up to this these couple trees here and then stop, eat something, and then turn around, because it's a tough trail in the summertime as it is, and when you start having pretty much no trail here and you got to trudge through the snow, it gets pretty tough. And I'm even wearing cleats right now too, where we are. And just kind of, there is a, actually I think I'll go up above the hill here. There's quite a lot of bison over there. So if we go to that top of that ridge there, should have a pretty good view. So I got to the top of the ridge here, and we found not just a couple of bison, but I would say the whole herd. There is a lot of plains bison down there right now, which is definitely making it well worth making the trip out here. A little closer now. And that's not all of them. There's some off to the left here as well. So yeah, we found the herd. As we found down this trail, there's a few pockets of bison, but this is definitely the main group.
The mother herd.
Mother herd. After that, we took out our Nikons to get some closer shots. As we were some distance away, they continued to peacefully graze on the winter grasses, paying us no attention. We made the choice of leaving our tripods at home, and then, of course, we encountered the largest number of bison we've ever seen in a single day. Always make sure your kit includes the tripod. After filming, we took a moment to eat something before starting back for the trailhead.
And you can also see in the other spots, there's more face marks over there. By face marks, I mean they're just using their heads to push the snow to the side.
On our way back, we reached the same herd in the clearing as before, but observed they were now nearer to the trail. A large female was keeping a very close eye on us, so we moved along slowly, making sure not to attract unneeded attention. When we arrived on the other side of the clearing, we could see her grazing and no longer interested in us. Upon returning to the same spot near the trailhead, we noticed the bison were still present and gladly further away. In early March, we went on our last hike for the winter, first stopping at Bison Loop Road, where on a cold morning we found some frost-covered bison grazing on winter grasses. Here are some good examples of the face marks Donna was mentioning earlier. Essentially, the bison will use their face to shift the snow to each side, so the grasses are better exposed for grazing. We were fortunate to experience another beautiful day during our final winter hike. Okay, so we are going to take a new trail here. We're at the Stoughton Beach area, which is their main site. And we're just gonna go up this trail here. It's called Number 6. And this place is absolutely void of people right now. So we got this whole place to ourselves. We're going to be walking up that trail, up the hill here. So it's number 6. It's called the Lakeview Trail. And it is one that I have not been on probably since we moved to Edmonton. So that's getting probably close to 20 years ago. But yeah, so there's the route. 3.7 kilometers, 1 to 2 hours. It's easy. And it is probably a very heavily used trail because it's near the beach and the boat launch and where people like to go when they come here. So we'll see what it's like. It's a pretty nice place, this. Comes with a fireplace. As soon as I walked in here, you could smell the smoke, so it's pretty recently used, I would say. Really popular. And very nice. I observed the chimney had a narrow interior, resulting in a significant amount of smoke traveling along the exterior, which is why it appears so black. This guy appeared unconcerned, though, as he scavenged for food left behind by previous guests. When using public areas, please make an effort to avoid leaving food behind for wild animals. As we ascended the hill, we were met with breathtaking vistas of Stoughton Lake and the surrounding area. We also found some information signs which provide a history of the area as well as other interesting facts. The iconic red chairs which Parks Canada places in beautiful locations across its national parks. This time it was the local residents who were taking a moment to rest and connect with nature. Walking through the gate, we entered the trail proper. Signs of spring were beginning to show, as seen by these buds forming in a tree. Walking along, we found the remains of an old pine tree which at one time had a massive root system. It was one of the largest I've come across and clearly had fallen down some years before. However, because of the time passed, it did provide a good view of the exposed root system. I took this shot to demonstrate just how flat the roots can be for these types of trees, which are mainly found within mountainous areas where the roots cannot penetrate the rocky surface well. After that, we continued along the trail, sitting down to rest and take in the views one last time. Concealed within the brush, the snowshoe hare was basking in the sun. Back at the trailhead, we noticed that park staff had set up an ice rink for the public. I hope you enjoyed coming along with us as we explored some of the many winter trails that Elk Island has to offer. Thanks so much for your support, and more videos are on the way.